I want to do a podcast about films.
I'm not stopping you.
No, with you, you fool.
Oh, so you mean you want us to do a podcast about films?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you say that?
I did. I am.
Well, you can't say films. You need to say movies. It's a more broadly recognised term.
Yeah, don't worry about that now. Are you interested?
We can't just talk about films we like. That would be boring.
Okay, then what about films we don't like?
That sounds even more boring.
Okay, how about this? Films we disagree on.
Ah, intriguing. So one of us likes it, the other one doesn't. And we discuss our opinions on the film?
I think you mean movie.
Yeah, don't worry about that now.
But yeah, that's the gist of it.
All right, I'm in.
Great.
Could still be boring, though.
You're boring.
I don't see how that's relevant.
Should we do one now? Hello and welcome to Movie the Needle, a podcast where two complete amateurs haphazardly dissect a film that one of us likes and one, well, not so much. My name's Simon and I'm joined by my good friend Carl, and we'll be explaining our opposing viewpoints and seeing whether we can movie the needle for one another. This week we're continuing our Scorsese trilogy with his 1995 epic crime drama, Casino. Alright, welcome Carl. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm all right, thanks, mate. How about you?
Good, yeah. I was bringing some energy there. I thought you would return it, but then I remembered it.
What sort of energy were you looking for? That was energy.
Yeah.
I finished on it. I'm all right, thanks. What's up with you?
Yeah, I suppose.
It just wasn't loud. Do you want it louder?
No, that'll mess up with the editing, won't it? We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
What's new with you?
Not a great deal, although I have watched a lot of films since we last sat down together.
Good point, yes. What have you watched?
Well, what was the date? So we last did a recording. Have we done one in April?
Yes. I mean, we
I've
should
logged
probably give away the dates because
I've logged a lot
we're
of
releasing
films.
these a lot later than when we're recording them, so it's going to be a bit
All right, well,
confusing.
I'll take you through. You stop me if I've told you about any of these. I say this knowing full well you can see my Letterboxd. K19, The Widowmaker.
You've not... Oh, wait, no. You did. We have spoken about that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was actually before I watched it, though. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Have you seen that?
No.
That's all right. Harrison Ford with a chunky Russian accent.
Excellent.
Phantom.
No.
That was another submarine one with Ed Harrison. A bit of a submarine
Going
kick.
on a bit of a theme. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You're a fan of, what, semen?
If you like, yeah.
That's what we're going for.
Yeah. If I'd have been in on that joke, you could have sort of stumbled over it and I could have said, spit it out. And then...
yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, fix it in post.
Yeah, we'll line those up. Then I watched another submarine film called Black Sea. 2014.
Seriously, there are other films available.
Jude Law. Have you seen that?
No.
No, nobody has. But that one, I gave 4 stars.
Wow.
That's worth a watch, that one.
Interesting. And is that in line with how other people have rated it?
It's pretty well rated, yeah. Let me tell you what the consensus for Letterboxd is. 3.2, it's not that high. I mean, it's not bad.
3.2
for Letterboxd.
Yeah, so it's...
I guess these sorts of films have got a bit of a ceiling as well. Yeah, that's worth a watch. Then I watched an old film, 1953, called The Man from Cairo.
Right, okay.
Rubbish.
How are you picking these films, just out of interest?
Let's not get into that today, but there are a few consistent reasons why shit ends up on my watch list, but let's save that for another day. Then I watched The Last King of Scotland, which was actually a first time I've seen that.
We talked about on the pod, not about you watching it, but we referred to it when we were talking about Blood Diamond, I believe, right?
And at first I thought it was going to be much better than Blood Diamond, and then kind of not.
Okay.
But, enjoyable as a watch. I gave that 2.5. Probably won't watch it again. It was fine.
I remember seeing you were on a bit of a 2.5 run on Letterboxd.
Well, the Black Sea broke that for me at 4 stars. Or The Man from Cairo broke it at 1 star. I mean, I don't know if that counts as breaking a streak. Yes, it's not 2.5 stars. Then I watched for the first time Casablanca.
Oh, what did you make?
I gave it 3 stars.
Yeah. Was this
quite an enjoyable watch?
I was going to say, was it a good film but didn't actually like it?
No, it was quite an enjoyable watch. I don't think it's aged that well. But I mean, like, I'm always a fan of giving a film kudos when it has like had such an influence on popular culture.
Is it one of those that's massively misquoted everywhere. As well?
Yeah, well, it's not Play It Again, Sam. It's Will You Play It For Me, Sam?
Yeah.
And then One More Time, something like that.
Yeah.
That would be the most famous line I can think of. But there's quite a few. So yeah, so I enjoyed watching that. That was a nice watch. It wasn't brilliant. I don't think it's held up that well. Then I watched American Fiction.
Oh, what did you think? I've seen that. A film I've seen.
Yes, I enjoyed that. I didn't think it was very good. I gave it 2.5.
Oh.
But I did enjoy it.
Interesting.
I think it's a bit. It's a bit broad. It's a bit like, well, duh. Yeah.
What do you mean, well, duh? What do you mean?
It's like satire for dummies, mate.
Right. Well, yeah, that's fine.
It is fine. It's totally fine, and I enjoyed watching it. But again, I refer you to my previous Oscar rants. It's a joke that people were holding that up in the same sort of echelons as Oppenheimer.
For performance, not film, though, right?
No, he's not. Even that was like, well, yeah, it's fine. He's
I like
enjoyable.
Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, so do I. But again, we're talking like, was that the best?
A good Felix Leiter.
Lighter. Was that really the best performance? One of the best 5 performances of last year? No, it can't be. I mean, what was the year that bad? Well, but no, I enjoyed it. Just didn't think it was that good. I didn't think it was bad either. 2.5, straight down the line, perfectly fine.
We'll go into detail in your theory on ratings and your views on them at some point down the line.
I'll just expose my own hypocrisy then.
Exactly, this is great.
Madness that way.
That sounds perfect.
And then I finally finished off with, oh no, not finally because I haven't logged on, Hunter Killer, another submarine one, Jared Butler.
Seriously.
1.5. That's a very silly film and also a very bad film. Wouldn't recommend that anyone watches that.
I will get you at some point to rate your top 5 submarine films and see where they all rank.
Yeah, I have no problem doing that since cinema completed, mate. And then finally, which I've not logged yet, I watched for the first time The French Connection.
Okay, and what did you make of that?
Didn't like it. Thought it was very good.
Right.
So the opposite to American Fiction.
Right.
One of those where you're like, oh yeah, you can see again that must have had such a massive influence on the genre, and it was like you read about it, it's like pretty groundbreaking, and you think, oh yeah, like this is the business. No, I didn't find it a very pleasant watching experience. It's not one I'll rush to go watch again, to be honest. Although that said, they did do a sequel, and I will watch the sequel. So, yeah, it's fine.
Cool. Well, I have watched a few films as well since we last spoke. So the first one was Bottoms.
Yeah, not seen that. What's that about?
not Bottoms.
No.
Disappointing. Misadvertised.
Right. Was that why it's on your watch list? Why do things make it onto your watch list?
Generally because I've heard good things about them.
Well, we've all heard good things about Bottoms.
Yeah, indeed.
They've all got lovely bottoms.
This was one of those films that it's kind of like a comedy. It's a comedy.
It's kind of like a comedy.
Yeah, but I didn't really get it.
Okay,
I was just like...
well, we can't blame the film for that.
No, I mean, I think I'm not in the minority, but there are a lot of people that really like this.
Right.
I think
who's in it?
It's very good. Yeah, someone.
Yeah, cool.
It's not. I mean, Marshawn Lynch, a former NFL running back, is in it.
Ah, well, that says a lot, doesn't it? Is that his first acting gig?
I mean, I haven't seen him in anything else. The two leads are Ayo Edebiri, who you may have seen in other things and heard of. She's kind of a...
The name doesn't ring any bells, but yeah, maybe.
She was very good in it. And then Rachel Sennett, who was irritating in it, but has also done other
Rachel
things.
Sennett, is she the one in
She's also
Suits?
the writer of it as well. Maybe, never seen Suits.
Don't waste your time.
Well, no, it wasn't tempting. But, it's a comedy, and as comedies go, if you don't really find them funny, it's quite difficult to do it. It's quite fantastical, quite out there, intentionally so. Like it's self-aware.
You love kooky shit.
Yeah, I don't know if I just wasn't in the mood for it, or I was expecting a more straight down the line comedy, or what. But nah, it didn't really do it for me personally. But hey ho. So
No, don't be going soft. Absolutely drag it, and all who watch it, nail your colours to the mast.
No, I won't. So I rated that I'm on IMDb at the minute.
No, it's not her in suits. I don't know why I thought it was her in suits. Sorry, go on.
So I did that 5 out of 10 on IMDb.
I mean, that's incredibly... Oh, right, this is your old rating, is it?
Yeah.
It's incredibly generous for a film you didn't like.
I didn't say I didn't like it, I said I didn't get it.
Oh, right, okay.
There were things to it that's like, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just don't get it.
Fair enough.
And then I watched American Made, which I think you've seen my Letterboxd review of.
I have.
Of this. Great story.
Now, look, let me tell you, because I can see your screen from here.
Yeah.
The fact that you gave a fucking Bottoms 5 and you've only given American Made 6 is a crime.
Well, you have massively overrated American.
No, we're not talking about my rating. It's irrelevant. The relativism in your scale is aldercock. What a shocker.
That's fine. So American Made, great story.
True story. Although how much of it's
based
true,
on that. Yeah. Great story. Cruise is good. A lot of it I liked. I just kept getting taken up by the weird shit Doug Liman was up to with the with his angles and stuff like that. And I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But, when you see something, you're like, that's weird. That's odd. Ugh, why does it look like that?
So I had a little pop at you on Letterboxd for this. I can't remember. I would have to rewatch it, but The Edge of Tomorrow, specifically on the weird sort of framing and shooting. I think he might do it in that. And I think he definitely does it in your Bourne Identity and things.
I think it would probably fit Bourne Identity more though, because that is a bit more like frantic, actiony stuff going on.
Point, yeah.
Whereas American Made didn't, Tom Cruise wasn't doing his action thing in that, so it just seemed weird.
I think it's really slept on that. I'm sure I have overrated it because I really liked it, but it's really, it was breezy, fun.
It was fine. Yeah, it was an enjoyable way to spend an hour and 55 minutes. And then continued the child education. We went down the Lost World. So
good.
Second Jurassic Park.
Yeah, look, we've started tailing off. You can't match up to the first.
It's just incomparable, isn't it? That's the thing. A couple of decent set pieces in it.
Yeah, it's still hanging in there. The franchise is still hanging in there at that point.
But again, enjoyable watch.
How did he like it?
He really liked it. Yeah. He's. I mean, you think my ratings were all over the place? Oh, you should ask him.
This is what you've come to
they're not all
now.
Over the place. Everything's 10.
You're better than a child. This is where you're at. This is where you're at.
Yeah. I mean,
well, at least I'm better than that kid.
Yeah, as long as
it's your kid. It's your fault.
As long as I can beat a child, I'm happy.
You're very good.
So we are doing Casino this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get your thoughts before we dig into the film on Casino, as in a casino.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas.
No.
That sort of thing. Anything?
No.
I didn't think you would be. Have you been?
No.
No temptation to go?
No. I could not be more uninterested in that sort of stuff.
So just been to a casino?
No.
Not doesn't have any appeal to it?
None.
No. What about the poker or something?
No. Poker is... I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not the games. It's the sort of the gambling. And when you're in a casino, you're not playing a game. That is an establishment that's machined to get your money right, to rip you off.
Yeah.
So it's not the game.
You've got to enjoy losing your money.
Yeah, right. You've got to have enough of it, or be carefree enough with it to not think about which I can't do. Doesn't matter if you even bet small. I'd just be like, fucking hell. Could have used that on something else. It's not my bag. It's not my bag at all.
See, I've been to Vegas, and it's funny because at the end of Casino, right, it basically rips it to shreds in terms of like what's happened to it, and it's now a pile of Disneyfied shit. I was like, I wouldn't go near the old version of Vegas, like the Disneyfied thing. I'd be terrified if it wasn't all sanitized and whatever like that. But my casino experience outside of Vegas extends to a stag do, where I went in with 50 quid or something like that. I was just like, this is what I have to spend. Got the chips, played a bit of blackjack, literally 4 hands. It was just like, person to the right of me, my mate.
Well, easy go. Person
to the right of me, person to the right of me, my mate, winning a hand. Person to the left of me, my mate, winning a hand. Me, absolute
They probably thought you were fucking counting cards for your mate. Is he on another table? Where is he?
I'm there just tapping my leg.
Yeah.
absolute garbage. I think it must have been four or five hands out of there. I'm just like, well, that was fun. Yeah. I'll be over there drinking the really overpriced beer.
Yeah, it's all of that. It's all of that. It's not for me at all. So you're not a fan of the old casino experience then?
I think I like the idea of a casino and the idea of having one of those, long sessions, you against the maths of it all and everything like that. But
that's not fun either.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Before we move on to the
go
film,
on.
Do we have any apologies or corrections?
No.
Anything from...
No apologies, not that I could think of. And again, a lot of this comes because I've not listened to the most recent recordings yet. And I couldn't remember anything offhand. But there is a bit of I think we should have a bit of an admin meeting.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and obviously...
On the podcast?
Yeah, and it's perfect time for it.
Sure. Who doesn't love admin?
So I was thinking when we eventually catalogue all of our ratings, like the stuff we do on the podcast, the ratings, of your movie, your needle, all the rest of it, tearjerker, yada, yada, yada. When we finally catalogue all of that and then we mine it for trends and we can finally justify the data section being called the data section.
Sure.
I was thinking about the rewatchability bit. We should probably introduce some sort of criteria rules for that. So I've got one. See what you think.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Hit it.
So 5 point because let's keep it.
We like a 5-point scale. Yeah, sure.
And you can add your own descriptors, but I've got very yes. Right.
Very yes.
Watch again soon. Yeah. Yes, which you could take as I would watch it again. Not too soon.
Sure.
Meh. Maybe we could, for consistency, we could change that to ambivalent if you like. I don't know. No, which is I doubt I'll watch it again. It's not. It's not like I'll never watch it. I doubt it.
Yep.
And then very no, which
very
I've put. I actively never want to see this again. And then if you like, I've got in brackets and firmly believe that doing so would indulge it and as a result make the world a worse place. If you want to go that strong, yeah. I don't know what
I do
you
like
think?
the very yes and very no. It sounds like you put this into a translator and to.
Well, you've just got like middle meh, yes, no, and then you need something that very yes or very no. So, yeah. So there we go. I don't know.
Sure. I mean, I think we can
give it a whirl today.
Yeah, kick it off and see. And I've got to think on my feet now of how rewatchable this is when we get there. But yeah.
Oh, I tell you, I've got something else to say as well.
Oh God.
Again, this is sort of admin. I haven't prepared a closing statement. On purpose.
Oh, so you're going to see how it goes and then just riff/repeat
because
all the main points that you just had.
Usually what I do is, and I think you do similar, is I prepare something.
And then ignore it.
And then if it needs tweaking after a conversation, I mean, let's face it, often doesn't because I'm right. If it needs tweaking...
Very open.
You just tweak it on the fly. This time I thought, I don't know, like maybe I should just see how the conversation goes, and then just go with it. And then if I have changed, which we've had a couple of, I don't need to do that. Doing it on the fly. Instead, I'll just tell you what I actually think.
Well, there we go.
So we'll give it a go.
Plus, cuts down the prep time. Who doesn't love that?
Yeah, well, it actually didn't because I spent fucking ages thinking about it. But it will cut down the prep time next time.
All right, good stuff. All right, so let's get on to talking about the movie. Enough of this nonsense. So
now for some different nonsense.
Now for focused nonsense. Okay, fine. Nonsense interspersed with sections of music.
Yeah,
cool. So, reminder of the scale. We are talking about Casino. Sorry, just a reminder for those who have skipped past the 20 minutes because they just just get to the films, goddammit. We rate things on a 5-point scale. We've already talked about. We like a 5-point scale. So this one is you really don't like it. You don't like it. You're ambivalent. You like it, or you really like it. But before we do the grand unveiling of our opinions of the movie this week, there is a more important unveiling.
Absolutely.
The highlight of the podcast for us. I mean, let's say for the audience.
So
do we call them an audience?
I think you're supposed to.
Our wives.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to. Yes. No, mine doesn't listen.
Really?
No, yeah.
Outrageous.
So just your wife.
Wow. Have you tried?
Yeah. But she doesn't.
10 minutes in?
She doesn't like films.
Did you not tell her that it's rarely touched on?
She described it to my eldest, as Daddy's off to go swear into a microphone, which is accurate, I think.
I mean, it's certainly a part of what you do.
Yeah.
Anyway, beer.
Right, so I think there is a couple of shots of beer in this film. But to be honest with you, did you notice what they were?
No.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I didn't waste any time trying to find out what they were. Even though I said last week that it feels like it should be a rule that if there's a beer in the film, we should drink that film.
Sure.
Although we said that and then probably broke it because Budweiser is shit.
Yes.
And it probably would have been Budweiser again.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, so I already knew the beer I was going to get, or knew the type of beer I was going to get.
Okay.
And I think because of the way that brewing works, we can be safe in the knowledge that these 2 cans of beer have got an equal number of blueberries in them each.
All right, so we have a blueberry maple stout from, I don't even pronounce that, Sugatak. Saugatuk. I've not heard of Saugatuk. Where do you get these from?
It's in the USA, Saugatuk. I believe it's in the north of the US somewhere.
Well, this sounds good. Made in Michigan.
Yeah, there you go.
Where was the film set? Vegas.
Yeah.
Pretty close down the road, if my... Well, no. Lively one. Ooh.
So there we go. No cheap lagers, but we have got a tenuous link to the film.
That is a good link. I like that. You're doing well. Right. We should actually have to meet for a coffee so I can start paying you back for all these beers that you keep feeding me.
Yeah.
It's not an even trade, but it's as good as you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more thought goes into mine than yours, let's be fair.
Well, I don't even have to order it. As you know, we just walk through the door and they start making the drinks for us. It's beautiful. Anyway, let's see what this is like.
Very nice.
I think mine's got less blueberries than yours.
You think? Yeah? You're going to kick off about it? Would Ace be happy with it? No?
No, he's not happy about anything, is he?
No, he's not happy about anything.
Not a happy man. Anyway, right. So that's the beer. Lovely. We'll be enjoying that. Thank you. Let's talk about where we stand, or sit, I suppose, on these movies. So, I went into this as a don't like, right?
Yep.
It was meant to be a don't like.
Yeah.
It was my turn to be a don't like. However, all right. On rewatch,
we feared this day would come.
Right. So you know how we like a 5-point scale.
Yeah.
I'm actually incredibly ambivalent about this film, to a point where I feel like I might need a 5-point scale of ambivalence, and I'd be the most ambivalent I could be.
It's almost like you need a 3-dimensional scale.
Yes,
like
that's
ambivalence sits in the other way, and now you're going off on the z-axis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would be really ambivalent.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if really ambivalent puts it closer to liking or not, but either way, it's, as I say, it's a different dimension.
After the shit you gave me for being indecisive about where I fell, this is brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I think being really ambivalent, it's almost an opinion, right? Almost, because you're giving an opinion
passionately
of the
ambivalent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I kind of am with it. Where are you?
Well, in spite of what I've just said, chastising you for not being able to decide, I like this film.
Right.
Although I was going to come in and say I really like this film, but I thought I like this film. I really like. I like this film. So. Yeah, I think I'll have to stick at I like, but I'm really close to saying I really like it.
So the top end of like.
Yeah, but I like this film. For the purposes of what we're doing, I like this film.
Excellent, good. So why I am ambivalent about this film, right? Just briefly. It is watchable, right? It's a watchable.
Oh, that's big of you.
It's a watchable. It's very watchable. Like I watched it.
Good news, Marty. He says it's watchable.
I'm not saying it's a bad film. Like it is Scorsese, right? He's not going to make an absolute turd. The only thing is that there's no plot. There's lots of things you've seen and done before, right? Mm-hmm. Or since, but better. And actually, many times by Scorsese, he's done these things before or since, and better. I found the script to be pretty flat / not existent, and that all does sound like I don't like it. Right? It's pretty, for me. That's fairly strong, fairly strong. But I did actually have a decent time watching it in spite of all that. So I don't know. It's like
well, listen, that's fine. We're talking about whether you like it and whether you think it's good.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a big shrugging Alan Partridge gift thing.
Yeah.
It's a noise. If I was doing a noise, it'd just be.
Well, look, the good news, despite only having 1 degree of disagreement on our scale,
We disagree on the
we
points.
we do still disagree on enough to be on brand. So I quite like the Mafia, right? Or I should say, what cinema and TV has done to the Mafia, right? Because it's romanticised.
Yeah.
It, right? And I suppose, as an idea or a concept, the way it's sort of organised and they have the code, or again, the way that it's presented to us has been like that. Maybe it's not like that. It is an interesting and impressive thing, organisation.
If they don't call it disorganised crime, do they?
They don't call it disorganised crime. Absolutely not. So, I think it is a very interesting thing to be romantic about in the world of cinema. The other cool thing about the Mafia and, Mafia movies and TV is because they're all, or tend to be, a lot of them based on true stories, which includes this one, although they've changed the character names.
Yeah.
You get like crossovers between them all. So you watch one Mafia film and then you watch another one, and it'll be completely different director, different style, and it's like, that's this character that was in that one, and it's like a bit of a history lesson, right? All right, so they were a bit part in this, and now this bit's on this. So I really like it, them as a thing, and this one I think is one of the most colourful instalments of that sort of Mafia history.
Just his suits alone.
Well, the suits, but in many ways, and I think it manages to deliver plenty of fun. I think it is tense at times, and then obviously there's a fair dose of brutality in it as well. So yeah, as a Mafia instalment, of which I like, this is a really fun one. I thought very good.
All right, let's move things along to the cast. And we'll kick things off with the main man, De Niro himself, playing Sam Ace Rothstein.
Mm-hmm.
What did you make of him? I've called him narrator number 1.
Okay. Well, we'll get to your thoughts on narration again, I suppose, won't we?
I mean, it is a lot of narration. We will get to that.
So narrator number 1... I started off by thinking that because the character's quite a straight sort of character, he's not really got loads to do with it. But actually, on reflection, I think he is delivering quite a good performance in this, because he has times where he needs to show some sort of underlying smugness, that arrogance that comes through. He's got other times when he's being all showy, and whatever. So I quite enjoyed him in this, to be honest. I'm not going to rush to say it's his best ever performance or role, but I thought he was pretty decent.
Yeah, he does start off quite understated, right? He's quite a quiet character in it, so he's playing it quite, as I say, understated.
He does get through a bit of a range though within it as the film goes on.
Yes, as I say, so he starts off in that way, but it then does call for him to you see the progression as the paranoia and power that gets to him, and you do see that character change, but not in a. It's not in a. He's fairly subtle with it as well. But it's De Niro, the man can.
Yeah,
he's all right at acting.
He's done all right, hasn't he?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
not bad. He does smoke well, and wear a suit.
He does do both of those things well. Yeah,
it's literally every scene is smoking. He's
I'd
constantly
love to be able to smoke well. I look like a right twat.
You could wear those suits though. I could see you in a
pink
flamingo suit.
Yeah, really top it off.
Those pastel shades.
I could wear that suit and somebody go, "What's he doing with that cigarette? It looks like a right twat."
But yeah, lots of suits, lots of cigarettes.
Lots of suits and cigarettes.
Yep, and lots of narration, as we'll get to.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to mix it up. So rather than going, we'll go for the female lead, Sharon Stone as Ginger McKenna. Didn't even know McKenna was her name, surname, until I read it in the thing. It comes up, I'm just Ginger, but yeah, hey ho. So she goes from, and she was Oscar nominated for this in a leading role. Didn't win.
Do you know who did?
Susan Sarandon.
What for? Aliens.
No, Dead Man Walking. Aliens was much.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
No, but she was also up against Meryl Streep and also someone else who's always up for Oscars as well. Especially had no chance. But I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced that she's necessarily Oscar worthy. I mean,
here we go then.
Starts off incredibly watchable and interesting, and then becomes one-dimensional and irritating.
Here we go. Right, so we've got our first major disagreements. I think she's unbelievable in this. I recently watched Basic Instinct. Right, and I saw a review of that, and the person fucking nailed it. Because I said, you watch this film, and it is amazing to think that her career at the top was so short, and his went on for so long. Because Michael Douglas in that is fucking... Yeah. He's stealing a living as the guy, and she's excellent. I think she's excellent again in this. I think she's super believable in every mode, and she has quite a few modes in this film. So she goes from super confident, she knows all the angles, she can charm everybody.
Yep.
She goes to, essentially desperate junkie when she's with Lester. And then she's also got absolute spitting fury down as well when she's with Ace, and Ace starts taking his own problems out on her as much as the problems that she's created for him. I think she's absolutely brilliant in this, super believable, and she looks amazing. And actually, I'm surprised you didn't like her, and it does rather ruin a question I had for you, was who else has a screen presence like her, female? Because there just isn't that many of them. And I think she has got that quality that there just doesn't seem to be many female actors that get the roles, right? Let's get it right.
Yeah.
That to actually show that off, and I just think she's nailing it on that front, the charisma side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said in part in terms of she goes through a range. It doesn't seem like a massive range. It seems fairly, to me, it was like one and then different degrees of the other. So like the emotional breakdown scene earlier on, where she's in the hotel room, is pretty powerful. But then that sort of gets repeated in various degrees of extremity. About 3 or 4 more times, and
I don't know if it's that many.
I don't know. There's the phone box one. There's the outside of the house.
Scorsese was hanging onto her leg out of shot.
Yeah, I heard hand, but whatever.
Hand, yeah. Because she got herself that amped up.
Yeah, actors, eh?
Yeah, actors.
Not real love.
Yeah, just pretend it's easy.
So yeah, it just started to grate on me, but that is actually a little bit of the part of
the plot.
My criticism of the film as a whole. In fact, that actually it maybe keeps going.
Don't forget your underlying issues with women as well. That's well established at this point.
Well, I did actually think of this, right?
Oh no,
no, just that, right?
You've given him a complex already.
No, just that. We maybe do need to start picking some films that have some stronger female characters.
It's not our fault.
I know it's not our fault, but it does. I do seem to keep on trotting out. Seem to be trotting out the same.
I lamented this last week, but it's not our fault.
But yeah, there must be films out there
that
we can disagree on where there are multiple strong female performances.
Well, that's going to bugger it up, isn't
film.
it? If we find one. Do you like that? Yeah. Oh, shit.
Tell you what, it's not. It's not next week's film.
No, not next week's film.
But yeah, that was Sharon Stone. So, good in places, but I think it's more what the film did with her was irritating to him.
Interesting. Wrong, but interesting.
Joe Pesci, a.k.a. narrator number 2.
Yeah.
A.k.a. Tommy DeVito Light, a.k.a. Tommy Diet Vito?
Tommy DeVito Light?
Yeah, from Goodfellas.
His character in Goodfellas?
Yeah.
Light? I don't know about Light.
Oh, yeah.
You think?
Well, not as good.
Okay. Well, Pesci is incomparable in this sort of character.
He is Pesci, isn't he?
And it was really difficult trying to think of somebody who could have done the same role. Like, you can't get another Joe Pesci, but like, to do that role. I, again, just thought, like... So do you know how he got cast in Goodfellas?
No.
So...
Gave Scorsese a blowjob?
Not quite. I mean, is that how you imagine that going down? Because it's not how I imagine that going down. So I think he was initially sort of slated to be in Goodfellas. And then as the screenplay developed, Scorsese said to him, Pesci tells this story on a talk show, there's a clip doing the rounds. Scorsese says to him, look, there's going to be a period where we're shooting the actors as younger, and I don't think we're quite going to be able to make you look young enough, sort of thing, right? So Pesci says that, like, I swore at him, he swore at me, we'll put the phone down. And then later, because I really wanted the part, I rang him up. I was like, look, come on, what we're doing? And he was like, no, it's not going to happen. So he said he went away to a makeup guy who he'd worked with before. And he sort of got all made up to be younger and, like, pulled his eyes back and put this wig on and all the rest of it. And so I went down to see Scorsese. And I said, look, what do you think? And I did a bit of the character. And he says, Marty was like, well, yeah, I don't know, he doesn't really look like you. And then the way Pesci tells it is he goes, and I just took him aside and I just said, come on, Marty, we're working this out. And he's very genial about it. But for me, the subtext is, I reckon Pesci's put him up against a wall. It's just been like, no.
This is my part.
Well, I'm having this part. And obviously, having then put that on screen, that, like, unstoppable force, right? He's a shoo-in then when you want a little psycho gangster for this part. So, look, comparisons to Goodfellas aside, I think he's excellent in this. I think he's just unrivaled at what he does.
Yeah, I mean, this is very much a theme for a lot of my issues with this. It's by comparison to Goodfellas, which is better in every which way, in my opinion. But as I say, like, you're bugging if you can recast him, because it's just a Joe Pesci character, and he's very good and very watchable in this. So yeah, it's but yeah, a lot of the narration work as well going on there. Mm-hmm. Oh, Jimmy Woods.
Yeah, well,
Lester Diamond.
I said he might not have been acting, but what a terrific scumbag he is.
Yeah, I know, right? I was going to say, he plays super creepy super well, doesn't he? I mean, he's bang on. And Lester Diamond, good name.
I remember the first, well, it's a typical pimp name, isn't it? I remember the first time I watched this, and I hated Lester Diamond, which, is the film doing its job.
Sure.
The film doing its job, so I was just like, oh, you odious little prick, you fucking, look, just leave her alone, she's onto a good thing here. Yeah.
Oh, you got right into it.
Yeah.
I mean, that rounds out the cast that weren't gangster types making gangstery noises, which could be passed off as dialogue.
You got Frank Vincent, who plays Frankie Marino.
Yep, same.
Yeah, but another grade A scumbag.
Yep. I don't even know which character that is. It's just
Pesci's right-hand man.
Oh, the one, yeah.
The one that ultimately kills him.
Yeah. Narrator number 3.
Does he get a
He does,
spot as well? Oh, right at the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because,
Little 20 second cameo narration. But the shout out that I want to have is the fantastically named actor. No. The fantastically named actor who played the senator, Dick Smothers. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's right there, isn't it?
I'm a big fan of whole sentence names.
Mm-hmm. And Dick's.
And Dick's as previously advertised, yeah. And that's a good one. I mean, Dick Smothers.
Yeah. It's like the CNN, I'm sure the CNN news guys have got a couple of good names as well. Wolf Blitzer is one. Yep. That's a great name. And I'm sure there's another one I can't think of off the top of my head. But
yeah, I mean, there's Dick Pound as well. But,
Dick Pound, very good.
Less of a whole sentence, I suppose.
Yeah, there's an old American football player called Dick Butkus.
Yeah. It's not a whole sentence, though. I like the whole sentence names.
Yeah, it's just
like Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, does he? Yeah.
Tom Waits.
Etc.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Recasting, or do you want to talk about Don Rickles?
Well, yeah, I was. I haven't really noted his performance because he essentially just does Don Rickles, Mr. Potato Head in all his glory there. But there's a cool clip that they a bit behind the scenes of Don Rickles laying into Robert De Niro for getting his lines wrong.
Really?
Yeah, because he's just playing that same grumpy persona. He's only like Joshua,
okay.
but he's just playing that same grumpy persona, like on and off camera. It seems so. Yeah, he was quite fun, but yeah, no recasting. So I did have a go.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a go?
Yeah. So I'll go with my one that I had, and that would be recasting Ace, and it's another favourite of Scorsese around that time, which would be Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, interesting. I thought about him too.
Yeah, that was about the only one that would have been a replacement at that time. I've gone down a potential modern recasting if it was that film was to be made today. So as Ace, Adrian Brody.
Okay, yeah.
And then obviously Emily Blunt as Ginger.
I had her down for Joe Pesci actually.
She is versatile.
She is versatile. But yeah, no, I could see either of those. Keitel I thought about as well. Keitel I thought he could do it, but the one I went with actually, I've got a slightly more modern one, but not as modern as what's his name? You've literally just said, and it's gone out.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah, Brody. Which was Andy Garcia, because he's essentially playing that character
Ocean's 11.
in Ocean's 11. Yeah. He'd have been slightly too young at the time, 10 years.
Yeah, he would have been the young end of that, wouldn't he?
But yeah, very very similar. But no, the one I went for is Daniel Day-Lewis.
Another Scorsese fave.
Yeah, just because you need like a bit of that sort of coldness and sort of stoicism almost. Pesci, you didn't have anyone then, no?
I mean, I don't know.
So there are a couple. I spent a bit of time. You can have, by the way, looking at the Sopranos cast, which I know you haven't seen.
Right, you're just going to pick from there.
The Sopranos cast is a fucking goldmine for mafia actors. Yeah, one of which is Joe Pantoliano, Cypher in The Matrix.
Joe Trousers.
Yes. I mean, he essentially has made a career out of doing a Joe Pesci impression.
Right. Okay. Is he small?
Yeah, you've seen The Matrix, right? Cypher.
Oh yeah, a little guy.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He's in Memento as the bad cop as well. Yeah. But he's been in a couple of mob things, and he's in The Sopranos, and he's just bringing Joe Pesci energy to the screen. Even sounds like him.
He seems less intimidating than
can't
Pesci.
Top Pesci. No. The guy is a psycho. Joe Mantegna, I guess you would say it. Joe Mantegna, who plays Joey Zarzar in The Godfather 3. He's also in, is it Law and Order or something like that? CSI.
You give me any particular characters? Is this just
this is for for Nicky?
For Nicky.
But a really good one, I thought, although again he's too young if you're doing a modern thing, would be John Leguizamo.
Oh yeah. You could go
little
down
Pitbull.
There. I'm quite a fan of him.
Yeah, Pitbull. He could pull off that side. Stoner had one. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, she was apparently approached,
right,
and said it was too similar to her Scarface.
Yeah, and Scarface is why I picked her.
Mm.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wonder if she regrets that. Well, I've already got one really great movie on my CV.
I do think that. It's like, whoa, sorry, no, I can't do another.
Yeah,
good performance.
She's done all right. Bless her. She's done all right.
Can I do a rom-com? That'd be much more down.
She's done all right.
Yeah. So we've been talking a little bit about Scorsese favourites, and I know you enjoyed a little game that we played last.
Oh, go on. I mean, I've not finished recasting, but whatever, that's fine.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. You were going on. So there are only 5 actors that have appeared in more than 5, 6 or more, Scorsese directed movies.
Right.
Can you name them?
Well, Joe Pesci's one.
Nope. Only 4.
Only 4?
Mm.
Raging Bull?
Yep.
These 2?
These 2?
Yeah, the Departed. Sorry, not the Departed. Casino and Goodfellas.
Yeah. And the Irishman.
The Irishman, yeah, obviously. That's it?
Yeah.
He's not done it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my word. All right, okay. Well, I was just gonna throw out without thinking Bob De Niro, but now I'm going to have to count them up.
You're definitely safe with him.
Okay,
Bob De Niro. He's done 10.
10, wow.
I should do a big disclaimer. These numbers might be completely wrong.
Yeah, okay. So let's see. Is Leo going to have got there by now? We've got The Departed, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mm.
No, Scorsese also did that animated thing, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, I'm sure he directed an animated film. Anybody could have done voice acting in that. I don't know. It's a risky one, but let's throw out Leo as Leo there.
He's done 6.
6. What are the 6? Have you got them?
Aviator.
Yeah, right. Not seen
Wolf of Wall Street.
Obviously.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Departed.
It's only 4.
And another one.
Yeah.
Gangs of New York.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. I think Daniel Day-Lewis is too risky. Now, I looked down Scorsese's filmography, and I haven't seen a lot of them. I think Daniel Day-Lewis is too risky.
We've mentioned the other one.
Harvey Keitel.
Yep,
yeah.
He's done 6.
He's done Mean Streets.
It's some of the earlier ones, which I'm not as familiar with as well. He was in.
How many's left?
There's 2 left, and they're kind of cheating ones. So they both got the surname Scorsese.
Oh, has he got his kids in?
No, other way.
Wife? Oh, parents?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Catherine Scorsese has appeared in 7. And Charles Scorsese has also appeared in 7. And she plays she generally plays so she plays Tommy DeVito's mum in Goodfellas.
Right.
She plays the grocery store, or whatever it is, like the mum in that who's saying, every time he curses and stuff. So it's just like generic, older Italian mobster woman.
Very good.
Yeah. I did check. They're both dead, so they're not going to be appearing anymore. So Bob De Niro is only really got to be worried about DiCaprio catching him.
Yeah.
But then,
Scorsese himself's getting on.
Not getting any younger, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like he's prolific.
All right, so I won't be stopped. So Lester Diamond recasting. You can have Steve Buscemi.
God damn. Steve Buscemi, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, he's not. He's too weird looking, though.
All right, okay. John Cazale then.
Which one's John Cazale?
Fredo in The Godfather.
Okay, yeah, but he's too Italian, though.
He's got that sort of, that would be a thing, but he's got that sort of weak meanness about him. He's great, John Cazale.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show how good James Woods is as that character. Like, just nail it. It is just James Woods, isn't it?
Definitely.
Love it. You haven't got any more, have you?
Well, I did have, but I mean, you're
really? Have you got more? Come on.
Frank Vincent, Frankie Marino, right? Again, plug with The Sopranos. You can have Al Sapienza, right?
You could be saying literally any Italian-sounding names. Luigi Barbarossa,
David Proval. David Proval would be my pick for Frankie Marino. Cold, calculating scumbag. Plays Richie Aprile in Sopranos.
What about Gianni Occhicelli?
I'm going to press stop now.
Okay, let's leave the recasting behind and move on to the production. It's Scorsese, right? It looks good. They always look good. He doesn't make a bad-looking film, right? Am I right?
Well, probably. Every director's got a turkey in them somewhere, haven't they?
I know, but I imagine still as turkeys probably still look good.
This isn't one of them, though. I mentioned earlier colour. In everything. I mean, I think plot you don't, but it's on screen, literally. And then the characters are just dialed up to like 11 in every way. Rothstein is perhaps the exception to that. But they really go at it in there, whichever way they're going.
I found that the things that I've started to think about because of this bloody podcast. So, but
the one thing you didn't want to happen.
I've started. You make me think. God damn you! But you do notice, like,
I've not done anything. You sit every week and disagree with me. I'm not be taking the blame. Thank you very much.
I can't just sit here and go, "That was all right." But yeah, so Ace starts off in very much like black suits, very, very grey and black and white and stuff, and then wears a different suit in literally every scene.
Yeah.
Apart from the beginning and the end scene, which is essentially the same scene. Not beginning and end scene.
Yeah, it goes to his head, doesn't it? The whole thing.
Yeah, but then as he becomes more powerful and thing, like his suits become more colourful and flamboyant. Plus the age of the
matching shoes
that they're moving. Yeah, they showed that off as well. It was quite funny, like comparison between the I don't know what he was, the commissioner dude, but not commissioner dude, and that it was a very odd, like just focusing on the shoes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the wardrobe parts in this, like I'd be commenting on the wardrobe, but it does actually help tell the story and the development of the Ace character. But But yeah, I mentioned at the start about the dialogue. And I said about comparison and how I think this film falls down in comparison to Scorsese's other ones. And we disagreed a little bit on this last week, I think, if I recall, for The Departed, where I was very much in love with the dialogue and how dialogue heavy it was in terms of very memorable lines and powerful speeches and colourful, as we've talked about. But I counter to this and to Goodfellas as well. But in this it seems very flat, and I struggle to think of many lines that really stood out to me in any kind of way. When you've got sort of Joe Pesci doing his Joe Pesci thing, and you've got Gangsters Ahoy, that was kind of surprising.
Well, I actually do not disagree with this, because trying to find a best quote is not actually as easy as you might think when you read them all. They're all like, they're kind of all
about
the same.
3 pages long.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. The thing I would say, and you're not, you've been quite consistent here, I think.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, it's the first.
I think I might need to...
The thing I didn't like about The Departed, right, is because it lacked that self-awareness. It was blatantly searching for stuff like that. And because it lacked a self-awareness, because it wanted to be a serious film, it was much less colourful. And again, I don't just mean the colour palette that's on screen. Yeah. I mean the whole story and the setting and all the rest of it. We don't romanticise that mob the same as the way we romanticise the mafia, right? So you do a mafia film like this, and with that comes like an inbuilt recognition of, yeah, it's all silly and it's all overblown, but that's what these guys were like. We're showing it off with. So I think in The Departed, it's looking for those lines, and by Jove, it's going to put them in. You enjoyed that.
Full of it, yeah.
I found that lack of self-awareness, because he wanted to be taken seriously and yet was sounding like a parody, jarring. You didn't. Here, it's the other way for me. It is self-aware, but it's not necessarily looking for big lines like that. It's just going, yeah, look, they're going to be silly and daft, but we don't need a catchy line to tell that. Yeah. Just look at what's on screen.
And that's kind of my favourite parts of
these
kind of mafia films.
I think you are being consistent. Wrong. I'll counter still.
Consistently wrong, thanks.
But yeah, for the same reason you liked that and I didn't like it in Departed, we've now got the opposite here, I think. Yeah. But I do agree. It's not packed full of amazing, memorable quotes.
And I think
these Goodfellas, though, I know it's inevitable that we're going to keep making these comparisons.
Funny how, there's all of that side of things, and yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Goodfellas for a good while, but I remember there being some more lines to it. I didn't know whether it was because I read as part of sort of researching this that a lot of the dialogue between Nicky and De Niro was actually improvised. And they had a starting point, they had an end point, and they could pretty much go where they wanted with that. So I don't know, then you don't really get that because it's more natural, more normal speak rather than something that's been scripted in a particular way.
Makes sense, because I've seen that clip of Don Rickles joshing with Bob De Niro for not learning his lines, and then I imagine nobody tells Joe Pesci what to do at all. So I can see that.
And I think the other reason why there's maybe not as much memorable dialogue is there probably isn't actually that much dialogue, because it's a lot, as I said,
lots of narration.
Lot of narration. Like particularly the first hour and a half or so, it seemed like there was barely anyone actually talking on screen.
Yeah.
And actually it's quite effective to start with, as it's setting it all up. It almost became a bit of a parody of itself, how much, and the fact there was two narrators, which I get is a bit of an interesting way to do it. But it did become a little bit of like, yeah, they can talk on screen on set as well, right?
Well, so it's right. Let me tell you how I found that that dual narration thing, and essentially what amounts to the first hour and a half of the movie. It's about an hour and a half when the narration drops off. It doesn't disappear entirely, but we stop from these little punchy segments of them volleying back and forth. So I thought that was so effective in building a world and moving a story on without actually having to do much of that on screen, right? Because they can tell you about it and they just show you a bit. And I thought that was really effective in allowing them to to basically build a world. I mean, we always talk about world building in terms of like sci-fi films and things like that, but it's required for any film, really.
Yeah, you've got to know where the characters are, what's around them. Yeah,
I thought it allowed them to build a world really, really quickly, and then they just kept layering it, and we by the time that hour and a half finishes, we have got so much history. The characters have actually aged by that point. They're physically aged on screen, and time's moved on. We've got so much backstory. We've introduced so many people. Actually, quite a lot's happened. And for me, the dual narration thing, what it does is it doesn't ever let it get stale. Because if you do that, I mean, it's just one voice in Goodfellas, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't go on for quite as long, or it's more drawn out or whatever. We just get bits and pieces. Whereas it is pretty constant. I think that keeps it feeling fast-paced because you've got one guy, then you've got one guy, then you've got one guy. And we're flitting between these two, not always stories, because sometimes they're intertwined, but we're flitting between these two perspectives, yeah. And some of the shots that go with these little set pieces in between these, or underneath these narration pieces, are just fantastic. Like, we get some of those really long shots, again, like you did in Goodfellas, where we're moving through the club, through the kitchen, and all the rest of it. We get some of that going through the casino and all the rest of it. There's a super cool bit when they're doing the card counting thing. Yeah. And they're showing how all that works, and then we're cutting to it, and Ace is narrating.
That was fun. Absolutely
just wonderful. And I just thought it all was just so super fast-paced. Did you get the bit where they said, what is it? Back Home Years Ago.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I wrote that down.
I knew you'd like that, because there's the levity, Simon likes it. It just pops up at the bottom of the screen, Back Home Years Ago.
I did like that.
Yeah, I knew you'd like that. Yeah. But there's just loads of, I mean, even when it's not colourful, there's an amazing black and white shot of all the bosses in the darkened room at the table. And
there's always a light shining on one of them at every scene as well, on the same character.
Right, I didn't
notice. I read about it.
Yeah. So yeah. Look, the back and forth for me, it kept it fresh. So that whole thing, it lasted an hour and a half. I thought the speed of that was pretty breakneck.
It was, and it's interesting. I agree in that it did keep it moving along, and I enjoyed the first hour and a half, probably more than the second.
Me too, in honesty. Half of it.
Yeah. But it's interesting you say that actually quite a lot happens. I don't think a lot does really happen. There's not actually. If you think about the key points, there, like guy gets casino, guy runs casino, friend moves in.
Yeah, but you're doing the whole. You're telling us about. We don't just learn about Ginger, right? That he's got this girl. We learn that she's super competent with playing the game of Vegas, right? Yeah. We learn that she's a junkie that she can't let go for. We learn that he's arrogant enough to think he can change her because, despite how uptight he is, actually he quite likes the idea of being able to change. I guess he wants a trophy wife as well, or whatever. And it's like that, but for sort of every character. And then we're talking about how Nicky's been sent out by the bosses to look after him. But then we also learn that he sets up a crew and all the things he's doing, and we learn that he's taking it too far. And then, obviously, the bosses themselves, we don't just learn that the bosses have set this operation up. We learn that they have no idea what's going on. There's some incompetence.
And the money keeps on
coming in. The guy's skimming the skim and whatever. So I don't know. I can see, there's no massive set pieces in any one character's life, but it's much more than just going, here's a guy and he does this. It's like, we're going to show you he does this, and here's how he gets there, and he does this, that.
And I guess that's where I'm coming from with it. There seems to be like a lack of plot as such. Like there is stuff happening, but it's not really, I don't know, it doesn't feel like plot.
The first hour and a half is all backstory.
Yeah.
It is all backstory.
And I think actually when I was reading Scorsese said there's no plot. There's lots of story, but there's no plot.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what's the difference between story and plot?
Well, story is the point of the thing you're trying to tell, and plot is how you get there, right?
So how do you have one without the other? Well,
so I've called this out in a few. We've talked about this a little bit, right? So we've said, I can't remember the film, but you'll remember that we've mentioned this before. We've said it's fun to pick out plot holes, right? Yeah. But actually,
things that don't make sense.
That's not really the point, because if they don't get in the way of the story, right? If they're inconsequential, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You've just been panisticky. So by that, you could say, well, that's plot, because that doesn't get in the way. But the thing that we do care about, that's the story.
Direction of the characters.
Yeah,
and where
the arc of
from A
the
to
characters,
B.
how they all come together. That's the story, and how we get them to be. So think about a contentious one we've had about time, right? My issue with that is actually the plot, right? Because we sort of broke that down, didn't we? We have a concept first act. Mm-hmm. We have what is the third act, and you think is the point of the film. His relationship with his father. I think what we would say with there is that's the story of the film. It's about relationships and his relationship with his father. My issue, and why I could not get on board with the story, is because I found the fucking plot abhorrent. The plot was the thing where they move from A to B, and they go, well, we're going to do it by all these means and all the rest of it. For you go, well, it doesn't matter, because the thing that lands with me, I like the story. Right? Yeah. I think that's the difference.
Good explanation.
And again, I caveat that with, we are complete amateurs.
Might be completely wrong, but I liked it.
Yeah.
It made sense to me. So that's all that matters.
So he's probably right, because that first hour and a half, well, I say he's probably right, it's his film. He knows a thing or two. He's probably right, because that first hour and a half is all backstory. Yeah, so that's not really plot, but it is layering our story. It's given us the characters, and it's introducing the direction their arc's heading.
I did find it funny with the you were talking about the reliance on the voiceover narration, that when they bring in the third narrator just for that little bit. Seemed a little bit unnecessary, but fine.
Yeah.
But they also have like the old TV anchor, in the news, giving exposition in the background. That old trick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's sort of saying like, oh, and this is happening elsewhere, and there's a backstory of this, and this is what it is.
Okay. I don't think I picked up on any of that.
It was only in one. It's only in one scene, but it was just progressing something just a little bit with a bit of exposition from the news anchor. I was like, that is a thing that does happen in movies. And it was, I thought, using different tricks.
Interesting. All right, so I've got two more notes on production. So one is just rounding out about this first hour and a half, this back and forth. For me, I loved how that moved. I loved what it delivered. It moved on. For me, that elevated this film above Goodfellas as a production, right? So I'm going to caveat with that, because we'll talk some more about that in plot, because I have some similar problems with the plot. That last hour, it does fall off a bit. That's not as fun as the first hour and a half. The other thing we've got to touch on, and we've sort of touched on this already, but when we just says, but Scorsese, music.
Yeah, we mentioned this last week, didn't we? The use of popular music.
Just incredible.
Is good.
And I read, Letterboxd reviews are such a good place to find things that I think but express better. And I read a great...
But also do check out CarlMTN and SiMTN.
Well, if you like, yeah. I read a great review that just said, the thing is, the way this is shot and everything, the way it sounds and the way it looks, it made me nostalgic for a place I've never even been to. I've never even seen.
That's good. And I think that's the power of movies generally, right? It can do that, and Scorsese he's obviously
so good with it.
A master of it.
So they use Gimme Shelter again.
They do. It was much subtler though. Like, it wasn't...
The Coke scene again, though.
Yes.
You said it was 2 films last week, didn't you?
It also in Goodfellas as well.
Yeah, well, that makes it 3.
I did say 3, yeah.
Oh, you did say 3.
Yeah.
Oh, my mistake, yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Well, it is 3.
Yeah.
Because I heard that, I was like, I'm sure he said 2.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
this wasn't one of them.
I'm pretty sure I said 3.
And I checked, and it is 3, yeah. Ah, fair enough.
Cool. Okay, so we move on to the plot. And I've already talked about there's a plot kind of thing. And we touched that on the production. But this is adapted from a true story in,
Yeah, it was a book as well, wasn't it?
a half-finished book at the time
really?
of doing it. Yeah, he hadn't actually finished publishing it and everything. But it's on Nicholas Pileggi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he's...
I guess Pileggi, I would guess.
I don't know if it's got G's in it. With the ch?
It's got no G's in it.
No, it's got G's.
Yeah,
G's
hard G in Italian, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Give me another word, quickly.
That's not next to an N, because you don't say lasagna, do you? I don't know.
No, never mind. Yeah, so it was, it's got characters, the characters that it was
Mitch
based
Pileggi,
on.
did you say?
No, Nick.
I was going to say, because Mitch
He's the guy
Pileggi's
from
the guy
the
in the
X-Files.
X-Files. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not him. He is just the guy from the X-Files.
yeah.
I haven't seen him in anything else.
I have, but I think another TV thing. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. Loved him in the X-Files.
Yeah, he was great.
So yeah, I haven't got too much more to say on the plot actually, because we've kind of touched on it already. Like, there's some really good scenes. There are some really good scenes in this, and some nice violent scenes that are quite inventive, like the head in the vice.
Oh God!
It was, it was pretty.
Yeah,
it's pretty
I mean, it's weird, isn't it? Because I tell you how effective that is. That scene. It's still only on screen for half a second.
Oh yeah, exactly. A lot of it's done, and you don't see much at all, really.
You just see it start to pop out.
Exactly, and
then
then
it cuts away.
Cuts to a different angle, and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
But even like the baseball bat beating, it's brutal.
Yeah, it really is.
Buried alive as well.
Oh, that's awful. And again, supposedly what happened, I mean, you never know how many of those stories are exaggerated, but yeah, I mean, I've put that it's a decent plot because of its simplicity. As we've established, I don't really mean plot. I'm talking about the story. The story's pretty straight down the line. The setup, we have this very, very long setup, and then we're kind of just waiting for it to go wrong. But I think they do such a good job of setting it up. I was really into it and really not wanted it. I really did not want it to go wrong. And I was getting angry at, like, Lester, why don't you just fuck off and leave her alone, right? And I was like, when Ginger starts losing it, going, just reel it in a bit, love, you get and like Ace's arrogance
really doesn't help things, does he?
No, so like he can't see that. Well, he needs Nicky whether he likes it or not.
Yeah,
and he needs to find a way to manage him. But he can't see it. And Ginger's the same. He's just, I thought I could change it. It's like, why did you think you could change it, you fucking arrogant prick? So I was sort of really into it with all that, and I think there's some good tense bits as well. If you're feeling that, because you like I said, I just didn't want it to go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's some really nice scenes with De Niro just when he starts to get angry. He starts to get pissed
just
off.
Starting to get on top of him, and
and like the court scenes as well, where he's going off on all of them. I enjoyed that.
But, I mean, come back to what a performance De Niro's delivering here with actually a seemingly not that outlandish character. I think it's before those court scenes. Like, he can barely conceal his smugness that Nicky's been put in the black book. And he's
after being warned that you'll be put in the black book.
And he's just like, you can see it on De Niro's face. He's just like, I fucking told you. Yeah. And he's delighted about it because he's like, that's I won that. And it's like, yeah, but what does that mean, you smug prick? Now you think it's just going to go away. But I think he's doing a really good job in those moments as he does start to lose it a bit and have to come out of his shell a bit more, I guess.
Yeah. Have you got any more?
Well, no. So,
plot?
Look, like we said, there's not a lot of it, and I agree actually that the last hour is nowhere near as much fun as the first hour and a half. It's fine because the setup does so much for me to bring me in. It's fine and it's enjoyable, but it just can't live up to what I thought was just an exceptional. I keep thinking of this as an opening, but it's a hell of an opening. It's an hour and a half of the movie. Yeah. And the only other note was I did think this was a bit meta, but the killings at the end, when they were shooting them in the head and stuff, the executions, they were shot and it was all pulled together very much. Almost I felt as like an homage to The Godfather and The Godfather 2, that whole piece at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got too much else to say apart from that. I think the bit where we detach from each other is that you were really bought into it, whereas it left me a bit more unmoved. Okay, so this is why you're wrong. Our closing statement and then decision whether we have moved each other's needle. So I'll go first. So I don't think my needle has moved. I think I'm still locked in the world of ambivalence. The over-reliance on the voiceover, although, as you say, it does move things along quite nicely in the first hour and a half. I think just overall, my emotional connection to this and not really feeling necessarily so engaged with it like as you were. It's also a little on the long side for what it is, and just in comparison to Scorsese's other ones, I'm just left feeling a little bit meh. Which is not to say I don't think it's a well-made film. Which is not to say I don't think there are good parts to it, good performances, and generally pretty watchable.
I mean, you've gone early with the As You Needle been moved there.
I did, didn't I?
Even out of politeness, it'd be nice to pretend
Premature.
that there was still a chance. Now what am I doing? I've got to deliver a dead
might have
baby,
moved yours.
as they say. Yeah, all right. No, so look, it's hard to disagree or tell you you're wrong, because we kind of actually agree where the film is good and where it's not so good. It's just we tend to have different feelings about those bits. For me, the first hour and a half of this is possibly the greatest 90 minutes ever committed to the medium. I really, really enjoyed it, and that then dragged me in for the sort of story proper when it all starts to go wrong. And I really cared that, things were falling apart and people couldn't control themselves, and it all comes crashing down. I don't like this as much as Goodfellas. I do think that I like that more. But I still think it's an absolutely fantastic film. And I very much enjoyed it.
So what you're saying is you don't like it, and I've moved your needle.
No.
Oh,
that's no, that's silly.
I thought I could trick you into it without your notes in front of you. I thought you could.
No.
I thought that'd be it. Oh, confused. Is that what I think? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay, fine.
No, I'm afraid not.
All right, let's finish things off with the data, crack through some of our little bits and pieces. So, first off, some ratings. IMDb 8.2, Letterboxd 4.2. So Letterboxd a little bit higher than the IMDb. Metacritic 73, so they're a bit more in line with my thinking. What were you rating it on your Letterboxd, or what are you rating it on it?
4.
4?
But, which is also
With
what
a
I've rated
heart?
Goodfellas. No.
No heart.
So I've rated Goodfellas 4 as well. But Goodfellas gets a heart, because I definitely like that film a bit more. And Casino, just because of that last hour, I thought, look, it's
You
4
got to use all
stars.
your ammunition.
I just thought, no, we're not quite at the heart stage, so yeah, 4.
Okay.
What did you say yours was, or haven't you said?
I haven't said, but I think I'm going to probably go 2.5.
2.5, dear me.
Yeah, I mean, I could be tempted to go for a 3, but then it seems I have to get extra points for it being well made and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. I'm a bit unsure about that as well. But I'll see. I'll see where we go.
So you said Metacritic at 73% was more in line with you.
More in line,
which is weird, given that would translate to view at around 7.5.
It's lower than what you put.
Yeah,
but
that's close. It's actually closer to my rating than yours, though.
Yeah. I mean, but I say it's like if you go over, then you're out.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that's how it works. In my
let the record show.
Game. Is it rewatchable, Carl?
Oh yes, rewatchable.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a challenging watch, but would I seek it out?
Well, so let's think about the scale now. We both say yes, but I think I'm going to go yes, very yes, because I could see myself. Especially if you're having a drink with friends, I could see myself popping this on, no problem, next weekend.
I don't know. I definitely don't think it's a very, just down to the length, if nothing else.
Well, then that puts you at a yes.
It's quite. It's maybe a yes.
You would, but
I
not
might
too
just
soon.
watch the first hour and a half.
Yeah. Watch this right. What? And then put Goodfellas on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it's in the yes. So I'm still getting used to this 5-point scale, Carl.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right. Yes, very. No, sorry, very yes, me too. Very yes and a yes, right, okay.
Very yes. Best scene.
It's just where we had the admin meeting on air. Otherwise, that has been a right mess.
I know, yeah. Think what that would have been like. Jeez. Best scene.
Yeah, so I actually think there are quite a few. I know you say that not a lot happens, but I mean, we had a little joke with a beer about the blueberries. There's no killer lines in that, but it's a really fun exchange. It shows his sort of like his paranoia almost unfolding at that point. I was going to say the cheating bit where they shout.
That was cool.
I think that's great. But the one I went for, the one that made me smile the most, the one that summed up the feeling of this film the best, is where Nicky takes the girl. The meeting, they're doing a double date thing over at Frank Marino, and he's just talking about we got the best chefs, and like it's nothing, talking about pounding pink veal, and then just pushes her head down for the blowjob, and I just thought that is bang on for this film. That is just so cool.
So mine is not necessarily like a dialogue heavy bit or anything along those lines. It's just the bit that stood out in my brain, which was the FBI plane running out of fuel, landing on the golf course, and then them just going like, "Hey, let's see if you can hit the plane."
Hey, it's the feds, $100 to hit the plane.
I was just like, yeah,
fun. Yeah.
Best quote. So I did struggle because, as we said, it's not the most quotable. There are a couple that I want to call out though.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to use ones that you feel like you could use at work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this guy could fuck up a cup of coffee.
Very good. Yeah.
Feel he could do that. The other one is not so much one that you could lose at work.
Go on.
But it's more of like it's a Nicky going off on one. So like, I lost control. Look at you. You're fucking walking around like John Barrymore. Fucking pink robe and a fucking cigarette holder. I lost control.
Yeah.
Which I thought was actually bang on. Like, you actually really, fair play. Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, he is. Similarly, I've got ones you could use at work.
Oh, yeah, go on.
And the second one, I actually put down for you, to call out specifically for you to use at work, which is, you shit-kicking stinky horseman, you're smelling motherfucker you.
Yeah, I don't know if I could pull that off.
No, just internally. I think internally, yeah.
Yeah, it just sound like Muttley.
I mean, you could have picked any of it. You dumb motherfucker, you, like, the whole way through. But no, my favourite quote is, look, all you do is give me answers. Just give me the right answers.
That's nice. Well, I might use that one at work.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Favourite character?
Nicky.
Yeah. Tearjerker. Did you cry at Casino? No. I'm not sure. I'd be a bit worried if you did.
Well, I suppose it depends just how much you are moved by
Sharon
Stone's descending into junkie habits. But no, I didn't.
Gratuitous nudity, was it a jerker?
Didn't notice any nudity.
There was one quite early on where one of like the guys they were comping or whatever, and some girl strips off and you see a bum, but that's about it.
Nothing jumped out, so we'd have to say no, wouldn't we, for gratuitous nudity? No. Fair play, Marty.
And we move on to our top 3 section, and we said we'd go with the top 3 Pesci. And I'm going to play a little game, see if I can guess Carl's top 3.
I think I'll catch you out, but go on.
Oh, really? Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2, Goodfellas.
I mean, you are very close. By the way, how mad is it that we both were likely introduced to Pesci as through the Home Alone films, right?
It was the same year.
So same year. He's in children's films, and he's brilliant in those films. Yeah. He really is brilliant in those films, and yet still so utterly convincing as this little psycho, this racist psycho in these films. Very, very good. So, and I'll tell you why, I've cheated a little bit. I didn't put Home Alone 1 and 2 in there.
So
I just thought he's delivering the same thing. Yeah. Okay, so I've got Home Alone, top of the tree, my soft spot for Christmas films, Goodfellas, and then My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah. I've seen My Cousin Billy, but not for a long time.
It's quite a pleasant watch. He's quite funny in it.
May being good in it, but I can't remember much else.
It's pretty good. I like it. What about you?
No, mine is 1 and 2 and Goodfellas.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
I was going for that. And we said also top 3 mob type films, mafia kind of films. We were talking about whether we would do De Niro films or not. I feel like these might be the overlap of mob films and De Niro films of the top 3. I'm not sure there's going to be too much differentiation for me, but
mine aren't.
So my top 3 mob films are Goodfellas, Godfather Part 2, and Once Upon a Time in America.
And now, I've not really watched. I do like Once Upon a Time in America, but it's been so long since I've watched it.
It has been a long time now since.
And it's 4.5 hours long.
It is. Please don't not like it.
I didn't put that in. But I do like that too.
So you've got Goodfellas.
No.
You've not got Goodfellas.
Here's the thing. So Godfather's my number 1.
Okay.
My number 2 is Donnie Brasco.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
No.
It's Johnny Depp in it.
Yeah.
Michael Madsen. Al Pacino.
Pacino's in it,
yeah. I like that film a lot. Now, the problem is I've got a tie for third. And
it's fine, it's allowed. We can make up our own rules.
I just could not leave either one of these off. And then I sort of went back to it and thought, well, maybe I'll leave Donnie Brasco, and I couldn't do that.
Okay.
That is my number 2. So I've got Scarface and then Goodfellas.
Scarface I left off for a similar reason. It's been so long since I've seen that film that I don't know if it...
I mean, I've seen it not too recently, a few years, but not like 10 years. And I just can't imagine not loving it again. It's fantastic. So yeah, I've had to go Scarface, Goodfellas. Interesting you've gone 2 over 1.
Yeah,
You rewatched them recently?
I'll be honest, Carl. I made my Robert De Niro list first, and then I just kept it the same.
Okay. Fine. Because that is one of the things that people say. They go, Godfather's the only film where the sequel's better than the...
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case when you rewatch them. I mean, it's also worth pointing out I think they were shot back to back. They're basically the same production anyway, you know. But no, the Godfather's clear.
Yeah, I'd have to rewatch to form a really definitive view on that one. Which I'm quite tempted to rewatch, to be fair, because it's been a while since I've...
They're really good, both
I've only seen them once or twice.
Yeah, they're really good. They're both top draw films. And honestly, I think 3's a bit underrated as well. It's just difficult to match up, isn't it?
No. All right, you got anything else?
Nope.
Nope. Alrighty. Well, that's all we've got then. So if we moved the needle for you, or even if we didn't, please do get in touch with us by email. We do look at it occasionally. It's hello@mtnpod.com. And also, please rate us, follow, subscribe, like, wherever you're listening. It makes us feel all warm and fuzzy to see those numbers tick up from 2 to 3. Our Twitter and Instagram is MTN Movie Pod. And you can find our page on Facebook, and I think we've got TikTok as well, if Carl does anything with it. Details can all be found in that show description. So, from me and Carl, it's goodbye. You have to say goodbye, Carl. That's how it works.
Goodbye.
Carl, I want you to give you this key. Because when you do a podcast with someone, you've got to trust them.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
There's no other way.
Is this worth 2 million?
You've got to give them the key to everything that's yours. Otherwise, what's the point?
Is this worth 2 million? Because if it isn't, I don't want it.
No, seriously, you've got to give me it back. Because otherwise I'll be real trouble with Emma.
Yeah.
Chastity belt.
Fair, are you?